Grizzlies fans, welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. The Grizzlies continue on their road trip. They are in San Francisco tonight, taking on the Golden State Warriors. Joining me for, I think, one of the most exciting Game Day updates is a Memphis native. So we're going to test her loyalties today, talking about the Warriors. But now she is there, covering the Warriors herself. Erin Wilson, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me here, KJ. It's so nice to be here. Talk about Memphis and then also not try to piss off too many Warrior fans.
You won't. No one's going to be pissed off. It's going to be a friendly little matchup. There's only a little bit of a rivalry between these two teams.
It's dwindled, huh?
It's let's set up the game. This is the third matchup between these two teams this season. Each team has won one game. The Grizzlies won in January. The Warriors won the latest one in February. So who's going to win the one in March? Let's talk about offensively first, Erin. This Warriors team is top 10 in the league in both offensive rating and points per game. What have you seen from them offensively? Like, we know about the Splash Brothers, how much they can score, but offensively, what's been clicking?
I'll say this being my first full, but my second season with the Warriors, what I noticed about this team this season is that they actually have an identity. They didn't have last season because the chemistry was kind of out of whack, and then they didn't know where one would play this game and one would play the next game. And although they've had to experiment some this season with matchups due to injuries and suspensions and things, I feel like it helped them to find their new offensive identity outside of the era that they had previously, where they had so many veteran players. Now they're like kind of split with the veteran core that they've always had, but they have so many new young players that have this time around been able to be integrated in the system, and it works. Guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. Like, I was speaking to someone about the other day about how inconsistent his role is, but how consistent his production is. And it's like being able to fill someone in like that, like Moses Moody, or like John, who's now become a starter, for Jimsky, who just does all the right things. It's work. I think that's why they click on offense a lot better. They're really good at finding, just recently, Clay being moved to the bench and finding that trace connection that they have, the Trace Jackson Davis and Clay connection, is just wild to see now how moving people around just kind of helped them to figure out what their new offensive identity is under, Steve Kerr.
Another thing that the Warriors do so well, Erin, is rebounding. They're second in the league in rebounds per game. And that's something that the Grizzlies have struggled with a lot lately, especially with all of the injuries that they do have. Now, look, Jaren and Dez are both in tonight, which has been good for the last two games. But if I look at the last two times we played the Warriors, once a player had 14 rebounds, another time in January, a player had 11 rebounds. Is this something that the Warriors capitalize off of other teams? I know they're pretty high up in second chance points as well.
Mm-hmm. So they are high up in second chance points. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I do think lately here towards the second half of the season, they've made more of a point to make sure that they get the offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds on both ends of the floor, but to also win the rebound battle. They didn't do that against the Knicks the other night, and you see how that turned out. So it's like when they do the small things and they've been kind of inconsistent with how well they can shoot this year. And everybody knows that's the bread and butter of the Warriors, how well they can shoot from beyond the arc. But what helps is the fact that the other little things like the defensive rebounds, the offensive rebounds, and the second chance point help them to keep them at bay. But when they get low or they get behind early, and then they don't win the rebound battle, they get ridiculous with the turnovers. And then they don't make sure to do the little things on the defensive end, because sometimes they have lulls on defense. When they do that, they're usually unsuccessful. And so I know that tonight, for sure, against the Grizzlies, they're probably going to try to make sure to capitalize on the boards. It's one, because the Grizzlies are shorthanded and they're going to try to tire them out. But then two, to get every little thing that they can do, because this is a big game for them. As we all know, they're chasing down that spot out of to either one, lock themselves into playing contention, or to hopefully chase down a Mavericks team or a Sacramento team to get just into playoff contention. And so I would be floored if tonight, when I ask Steve Kerr about rebounds, he's not harping on the fact that they need to make sure that they win the rebound battle, for sure.
Yeah, this is a really important thing to bring up. I'm glad you brought it up. So the Grizzlies are coming off an OT loss to the Kings. The Warriors are coming off of a loss to the Knicks, and the Warriors are playing for a little bit more. And I think that's something that obviously Grizzlies fans don't want to hear, but I think for Warriors fans that is important. The Houston Rockets are inching closer to the Warriors. The Warriors are trying to inch closer to, a Mavs team that are right on top of them.
Mhm.
If Grizzlies fans are watching this and just, haven't been paying attention to exactly where the Warriors are, what is it that the Warriors are playing towards right now? Like, what is up for stakes? Like, what's the stake for them?
So right now they're just a game, I believe. I believe they're a game behind the Lakers because they keep trading places for the ninth and 10th seed. But because they lost to the Knicks, they are now back in the 10th seed where they had just secured the ninth seed a couple days ago. So with that, tonight they're trying to make sure that they don't lose that seed, but then by losing again, and like you mentioned, the Houston Rockets who are inching closer, they're winning consistently lately. Jalen Green's playing really great. So they're trying not to fall completely out of playoff contention altogether because one thing that goes without saying, if you come to San Francisco and you're in the Bay Area, they are very vocal about the fact that we are a playoff team. The fans feel almost they're to the point of they're spoiled that it's like we suck. I mean, we're the worst team in the country if we don't make it to playoffs. It's kind of how they look at it. It's like that's how they think about it. So they're definitely not trying to allow Houston to inch closer to take them completely out of it. But I do believe that they're trying to get out of that spot with the Lakers. I do think they're trying to get a higher seed if they have to stay into playing contention so that it's not we have to win two to stay in, or at least the battle is not. No one wants to see a Lakers Warriors matchup early on in the play-in. Nobody wants to see that, and so I know we don't because we've gone back and forth with them all season. So they're trying. But then Steph said the other days, he said, I wasn't at the game, but I was covering, I was watching from afar. He said, who cares about seeding anyways when you get into playing contention or playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But you care about seeding. We care about seeding. And I think he knows that too. But sometimes you have to just say what needs to be said to get out of the press conference, I think. What it is. Yeah.
A couple more things I want to bring up. The pace of these two teams. They are the last and second last team in fast break points. The other big
Mhm.
keep in mind is that last time these two teams played, Golden State Warriors shot 55% from the field versus the Grizzlies 40. Obviously there was no Dez in that game. Jaren had 27 points, but then Jonathan Kuminga had 29, Steph had 20. Let's break this one down with this last question, Erin.
Mhm.
As a Memphis native who is now
Yeah.
the Golden Warriors, I want you to pick someone from each team, the one matchup that you're most excited to watch tonight, or the matchup that you think might be the most important tonight for the game.
So with Draymond Green out, I don't really see much of a battle with. I'm trying to think. The best matchup I think could be tonight would be to see how they play. I'm excited to see Gigi in person. And I'm excited to see because he played poorly defensively, like in the last couple of matchups, I believe. But I'm excited to see if there's a matchup between Gigi and JK and how that goes because they're both young, explosive, scoring players that everyone is excited to see and they are trying to like make a name for themselves in the league at this point in this season. And Jonathan Kuminga does not hide with trying to be a wow factor and go with Golden State. And I think Gigi is a wow factor, all just period, because of the story, how he got there. He's 19 years old and playing so well to the point that people are, looking at him as a staple possibly with the Memphis Grizzlies. I think it'd be exciting to see if that's a matchup and if it is, who gets the better of the other, being that they're both so young, athletic, talented players. I think it'll be exciting to see.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. And it kind of ties into who wins that rebounding battle for the team anyway. So that one will be good. Jonathan Kuminga, Gigi Jackson, Erin. Thank you so much for coming on and breaking this one down. Let's hope for a good game tonight.
Thank you, KJ. Yeah, let's hope for a good one.